Due to the way Warframe is designed, there is no true end goal. Nothing that really says you've made it, and nothing to show that you're at the end of the game. So throughout the years, players have developed their own styles of endgame depending on what they've enjoyed. A lot of newer players or people that don't know Warframe don't understand what the point of the game is. But in my opinion, that's what makes Warframe fun. You make the endgame what you want it to be. Take whatever you enjoy to the utmost limits. So I thought we should share and discuss the main types of endgame, how to do so, and what doing so can do for you. So without further ado, let's get on to the top types of Warframe endgame. The biggest and most popular quote-unquote endgame is endurance running. All this really means is players with absolutely no lives spending massive amounts of time on a single mission. If you have dropped past the stream before, you'll know that we used to do these types of things all the time. It can be a lot of fun. It's a great way to test the min-maxing of builds, weapons, and synergies, as well as being just something fun to do to test people's own patience once they've got nothing else to do. So this is a good thing to keep in mind as something you might want to try once you have some decent gear. Unfortunately, the downside to this, however, is Warframe does not have scaling rewards. Excluding the 1 hour 30 bonus for fissure missions, Warframe doesn't have anything like this. After that, there is no difference in the rewards, which is something we all are truly hoping will change. On the opposite end of this, we also have speedrunning, which is quite literally the exact opposite of endurance, but also in my opinion something way more fun, and as a bonus, can be done with almost any amount of time. Speedrunning is a blast, and there are a ton of different categories for you to try your hand at, including things like boss fights, planet completions, capture missions, the entire star chart, and of course the most popular role, which is Ukko, in the Void, which is what I do a lot of the time. This one I think is mainly popular due to this also being a good place to farm relics, so being quick here is a massive bonus if you love your relics. Speaking of Ukko, we do actually have a few Ukko runs uploaded to this YouTube channel, and they will be linked below. Speedrunning can be a lot of fun, and any amount of practice can work. So if you want to get into this part of the community, all you really need to do is give it a try. It doesn't matter if you can't do quick times at all right now, all that matters is that you enjoy yourself. Learn from mistakes and keep trying to improve. Even 1 second shaved off your time is a means to celebrate, and these skills will always transfer over to completing other missions faster as well. Outside of these two endgames, however, the true endgame is highly disputed. Mainly this is just because everyone enjoys different things, and there really isn't any official endgame. And that's where the fashion frame is endgame meme was born. And it legit is what many people believe to be endgame, which is quite a fair assumption. If there is nothing that challenges you as a player, then the next best thing is making everything you own look better than everyone else. And that really is the essence of this version of endgame. Players that spend all their time collecting fashion items and decorations, testing colors and spending time in the capturer, trying to make their frames, weapons, and ship look stunning. It's a bit of a meme, but honestly also the truth with how the endgame scene looked for quite a long while. After our long drought of endgame content, the introduction of Plains of Eidolon with the Eidolon captures sort of saved us. Eidolon hunting is another widely considered and used endgame. The reason being is there is a very high skill ceiling. Starting with the basic casual runs, you can find players struggling to kill a single Eidolon in a full night cycle. But on the other end of this, you can also see players challenging themselves with 2-man 6x3 missions, which equals about 18 kills. With things like that, it is probably one of the most legit forms of endgame due to the skill level required for some of the top tier runs. I personally don't run much of this as I don't see a point, however, there can be a lot of fun and a really good way to test yourself to the limits, with a lot of things to keep track of and get timing correct. Something that I tend to find goes hand in hand with Eidolon hunters is the Riven Mafia. This is exactly what it sounds like. People who spend their whole time buying, flipping, and controlling the Riven market. People do this to make platinum, get stronger weapons, or just find meme combinations of stats. This one does take a lot of farming, however, as well as a large amount of time and being very heavily RNG dependent, much more than any other style of endgame. But this also means getting what you want can be super satisfying and exciting, very similar to gambling, I suppose. You will quite often see people spending a lot of time farming Kuva just to roll their prized Riven and hope they can finally get that gold roll stat. Another thing that has a decent bit of RNG to it is relic running. Albeit a much lower RNG risk, it is still a very common form of endgame and one that I myself subscribe to. Relic running comes in a few forms, from default running pubs to rad sharing to vaulted relics. I personally love to run vaulted relics, and I spend a lot of time in a Discord called VRB just for it. This is a unique form of endgame as it requires quite a bit of preparation. Either you have played for a very long time, or you need to try and find people who happen to have older relics to purchase for running. The VRB link will be in the description. Outside of this, relic running also happens to be one of the most stable forms of platinum income in the game, as there is always demand for more parts. Even just running normal relics can net you nice progress in the form of ducats or plat, and in some cases, ducats into plat. And that leads us on to platinum farming, which kind of works hand in hand with a lot of the types of endgame that I've mentioned so far, as really, we all love a good bit of plat in our account. Plat farming comes in a lot of forms: relics, prime parts, arcanes, mods, ribbons, even statues and fish. If you can trade it, you can make plat from it. People that subscribe to this form of endgame tend to always be about buying and flipping anything for profit, watching the market and seeing when things dip, buying them, and then reselling them months later. These people also tend to have a much higher platinum count than most, with amounts that tend to make me want to cry. And although this is slightly the same, I do deem this sort of different too. Trading, or quote unquote being an endgame trader, generally when I talk about this, I'm referring to the kind of people that sit for hours on end in trade chat with filters on to try and find certain items that they're looking for. The kind of people that are always looking to negotiate for a good price or trying to sell things for way higher than the majority would pay for. Although not the most exciting form of endgame, it's very relaxing and you can just kind of sit there, watch a movie, and just wait for the people to come to you. One thing is for certain though, with endgame there is no one right or wrong style, and it is really up to you as a player what you personally enjoy doing and how far you want to take it. There are a lot of players that only play Warframe when there is new content. They come and blast through it, and then they don't come back. But endgame players, in my opinion, are something else. In a game that gives you a ton of freedom, you can decide what you want to be your form of endgame. I know some people that enjoy doing resource farming and even cat breeding as a form of endgame. What matters is just whether you enjoy it or not. If you haven't tried any of these endgames, I suggest just giving them a try at some point and seeing whether you like them. There are discords and groups for everything I have mentioned, and you can always find people to talk with and learn from while starting. Who knows? You might discover something that you will love and you didn't even know it was a thing. But that's pretty much it for the forms of endgame that I have tried and seen. I'm sure there are some that I've missed. If so, let me know what you like to do as your endgame in the comments below. Me personally, I run relics and speedrunning. However, a few of us also get bored with that occasionally, so we also have a grinding leaderboard, which I will link in the description, for those of you who are at the endgame, getting bored and want something to do or compete in. For those of you who are new to the channel, consider subscribing and coming over and saying hi on Twitch. Link for that will also be in the description. That's all for today though. Robo out.